this station. I'm here with you until 2 o'clock for great music, great chat, and of course, great vibes. Now, as promised, Michael D. Harrison is in the studio with me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Let me turn your mic on. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
There we go.
There we go.
We love a technical difficulty, don't we? How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. Now, you have popped by the UK, as it were. You've been here since last week, and you're talking about your brand new book and your songwriting and working with artists. Lots of stuff to talk about. First of all, when you return to America, could you take the Arctic Blast with you, please?
No, I'm going to leave it right here.
No, thank you. We don't want to.
I'm going to leave it right here. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but please take it back. Anything to declare this weather? Yeah?
Yes.
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 I'm sorry about it.
And you know, it was interesting that before I left, I was in T-shirt and shorts.
I can't imagine what that kind of life must be like.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. But when I got here, quickly. It was funny because I brought two coats, thinking I could, switch in and out.
But you're wearing both of them at the same time?
At the same time.
At the same time.
At the same time.
I'm sorry about that.
Yes.
We live in a land of perpetual winter. It's rubbish. So, tell me first about the book. It's called God Made All Things Great, and it's a children's book. It's so super cute. I love this. It's so gorgeous. It's so gorgeously illustrated as well, and that's what's so important. I think there's a lot of discussion about it in the moment because of Black Panther and things like that, and A Wrinkle in Time coming out later on this year. It's really important for children and young people to see themselves reflected in books and on screen, right? So,
yes,
tell
definitely.
me about God Made All Things Great.
So this is my first children's book, and it's a sort of journal through the creation story of Genesis 1, and basically retelling the creation story through the eyes of two characters, Alexis and Jalen. They discover many of the greatest creations that God has created, and then at the end, they discover the most amazing one to date. And I'm gonna leave the cliffhanger.
Love it though.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
It's so adorbs. I was saying to Georgia earlier on, I was like, look at the last page. It made me want to cry. I'm so going to do that. But it's super cute. Now, the creation story, it's a really good one because lots of things happen, right? It's
Yes.
kind of like, it really kickstarts the Bible. It's one of the most exciting stories.
Definitely.
How did you come up with the characters, though?
Well, one
Sort
thing.
of like Adam and Eve, but not.
Yeah, I had did some research and looked at, because I've always had a passion for writing, especially children's stories. I'm a former educator, was in the school system as a teacher, administrative principal.
For 16 years.
16 years,
Wow.
7 years as a principal.
Wow.
And I'm still sane.
Wow.
Yes.
What's that like?
Oh, never a dull moment.
Really?
But it's an exciting journey.
And was it young children or
Middle,
older?
well, in the States we call it middle school. So ages 11 to 13.
Okay, that's a difficult age.
Yeah. Never a dull moment.
I have to ask, as someone who was an educator in the US, what do you think about President Trump's proposal to arm teachers with guns?
Next question.
Right. Wow.
That I don't even know if that's worth dignifying with a response. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I think I would agree with you there.
Yeah.
I think I would. So you were an educator for 16 years, 7 years as a principal.
Yes.
So you worked a lot with young people.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so what inspired you to, first of all, take the creation story and create these characters and simplify it into a children's book in such a colorful way?
Well, as I was saying that, I sort of did my research and noticed that there's not a lot of Christian literature with us reflected
Yes.
in positive light. And so that was the impetus for me to begin this journey and really seeing ourselves reflected in the literature and actually high quality.
Yes, yeah. And that's the real thing. How did you come about your illustrator, Tyrus Gaucher? He's done a gorgeous job.
Yes, shout out to my friend Tyrus Gaucher out of Chicago, Illinois, back in the States. I researched different African-American children's books and just looked at the artwork. And he's actually watching me now on Facebook Live.
Hi. The power of the internet.
But I saw his work and it just grabbed me. And I said, oh, I need him to do the book.
Yeah, and he did
to illustrate.
an amazing job.
Yes, definitely.
How long did it take to all come together?
It was about a 6-month process.
It's not too bad.
Yes.
And you're self-published?
Self-published, yes.
How do you even go about figuring out how to do that?
Well, first, it starts with the manuscript,
Mm-hmm.
you know, making sure you have a solid story.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also...
Creation story is pretty solid.
Yes.
It's pretty solid.
Yes, you can't argue the Bible.
No, you can't. It's true. It's a solid story to stick with.
So with my story, then I actually pursued a writing coach who also had sort of a network of professionals who she could direct me to in terms of publishing. But it just so happened that Tyrus also has his own publishing company, so he was able to take care of.
Tyrus is a handy person to
Tyrus
know.
is the man.
Isn't he?
He is the man.
I feel like I need his details. There we go.
I'll send it to you.
There we go.
Yeah.
So you got together with Tyrus. He did the illustrating. He had his own publishing company as well.
Yes.
And you just put it into production.
Yes. And he's actually written, or illustrated at least 30 books.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
T-Go Sketch
Oh, amazing.
illustrations.
And we can find them online.
Yes.
T-Go
Yes.
Sketch. Amazing. And so what's the response been like to the book? Because I think earlier on I was saying that I have to get this. And you said it comes with a poster as well.
It's the big book bundle.
Oh.
You can get the book, the poster, and the soundtrack.
Oh, so the book has a soundtrack to go with it.
Yes.
So as I'm reading along, I can listen to the music in the background.
You can listen to the narration that can read for you. You can listen to the instrumental. And I kind of had it more so like a lullaby,
Oh, lovely.
you know, for kids as they get ready to go to sleep.
So you'll read the book to them and a lullaby. So you've just basically done the whole bedtime thing.
Yes.
Thank you
And
so much.
and there's a song
Thank you
that
so
they
much.
can sing to remind them.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh, lovely. And I guess kids love it, right?
Oh, it's been overwhelming. I just came, actually, this morning I was at a school here in London, and the kids were just amazed.
Oh, bless them.
Amazed. So little, so small,
I know they are, aren't they? And then they grow up.
so inquisitive.
Yeah. It's a great age, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
And so it's aimed at around 5 years old.
Ages 4 to 8.
Lovely. Perfect age. So, we talked about the soundtrack. You wrote the music for the soundtrack as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you write books and you write music.
Yes.
How
yes.
did that come about?
It actually came through a very difficult time in my life, a very painful episode that I was going through professionally. And so out of it, you know, I started to hear music.
Okay.
And the irony of it is I'm not a singer and I'm not a musician. So for me to start writing music was like, what? What is going on?
So, you want words and the notes as well?
Yes, the melody.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't do it on the final production of it. You know, I started just for the rough draft.
Okay.
But
Wow.
yeah.
And when you started writing this music, what was coming to you at first? What were the first kind of tracks that were coming into your mind?
Well, it always started with the melody, you know, and I'll just kind of keep humming the melody. Well, I'm not gonna do it now, but I don't have my singing voice with me just yet.
You should.
But the melody, and then eventually words, phrases, you know, and before long, you know, a complete song.
And how do you get to the point where you're giving your songs to other people? So we're going to play I Love You, which is sung, you've written it, but
Yes.
sung by Angela Bennett.
Yes.
How did you get to the point where you felt confident enough to give your songs to other people?
So I had, and I'm going to give another shout out to a musical maestro. His name is Linton Weems, back in Houston. And he pretty much arranged the instrumental piece, part of the song. And of course, I hummed the lyrics and just went out there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just went out there.
That's amazing. It's
Yeah.
a really organic process, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to hear the first of your songs now, and then we're going to speak to Angela Bennett, aren't we?
Oh, okay, yes.
I hope she's up.
Wake up, Angela. Wake up.
But this is I Love You, written by Michael Harrison and sung by Angela Bennett.